Hello. In today's video we will talk about creating a server and your first action to be taken, namely choosing an operating system. In modern context, this means a Linux operating system almost all of the time. There are many Linux distributions available, each with their own maintainers, with some supported by commercial vendors and some not. The distributions described below are among the most popular operating systems for running cloud servers. Ubuntu is one of the most popular Linux distributions for both servers and desktop computers. New versions of Ubuntu are released every 6 months, and new versions of Ubuntu with long-term support are released every 2 years and supported for 5. Most of the educational content about Linux reflects Ubuntu because of its popularity, and community support is a significant argument in its favor. Debian is above Ubuntu, which means that the main architectural decisions usually underlie Ubuntu release, and it uses the same deb and apt package manager format as Ubuntu. Debian is not as popular for production server due to its routine packaging choices and lack of commercial support. However, many users choose Debian because of its portability and use as the basis for many other Linux distributions on various platforms, including Raspbian, the most popular OS. Red Hat Enterprise Linux is the most popular commercial supported Linux distribution. Unlike the Debian family, it uses RPM packages and the package manager Kalen DNF, as well as its own ecosystem of tools. For licensing reasons, Red Hat is only used if there is a commercial support agreement. Rocky Linux is downstream of Red Hat the way that Ubuntu is downstream of Debian, and unlike Red Hat, is free to use, like most other Linux distributions, making it a popular choice for users that have adopted Red Hat tooling but might not be using Red Hat's commercial support. Previously, a distribution called CentOS played the same role as Rocky Linux, but it is being deprecated. Rocky Linux versions track it closely with Red Hat versions, and most documentation can be shared between the two. Fedora Linux is upstream of Red Hat, and like Ubuntu, is used in development environments as well as on server. Fedora is its de facto development home of most Red Hat ecosystem packages, as well as of the GNOME desktop environment, which is used as a default by Ubuntu and others. There are many other Linux distributions, but most of the others can be currently understood in relation to these 5. As you can tell from this overview, most of your selection criteria for Linux distributions will come down to whether you have requirements for a Debian derived or a Red Hat ecosystem, whether you will be developing primarily for the cloud or the desktop or in a container, whether you need to use the newest available or stable packages. Choosing a distribution is down to preference, but if you are working in the cloud and do not have any production requirements for the Red Hat ecosystem, Ubuntu is a popular default choice. Most Linux distributions also differ significantly in how third-party packages are created, discovered, and installed. Packages that are not available from the repository's own package source. Red Hat, Fedora, and Rocky Linux typically use only a few popular third-party package repositories, in addition to their official packages in line with their more robust, production-oriented approach. One of them is extra packages for Enterprise Linux. Since the Red Hat ecosystem finds a distinction between packages that are supported commercially and those that are not, many common packages available out of the box in Ubuntu will require you to configure EPL to install them in Red Hat. In this and many other cases, the question of which packages are available upstream from your distribution on repositories is often a matter of authoritative and maintains responsibility more than anything else. Many third-party package sources are widely trusted. They may simply go beyond the scope of maintaining your distribution. Ubuntu allows individual users to create PPA or personal packages archives to support third-party software to be installed by others. However, using too many PPAs at the same time can cause incompatibility. problem since LDebian and Ubuntu packages have certain version requirements, so the maintainers of the PPA should correspond fairly accurately to the Ubuntu updates coming upstream. You can also avoid complicating your system package manager by installing third-party software via Docker or via Homebrew instead. Although Dockerized or containerized deployments may be inefficient in terms of disk usage and installation overhead, which is especially important for some Linux distributions. They are portable between distributions and do not impose any version control requirements on your system. However, many packages not installed by your system package manager might not receive automatically updates by default, which should be considered again. In this guide, you have learned about some of the most important considerations when choosing a Linux distribution for your cloud. The currently widespread use of Docker and other container engines mean that the choice of distributions is not as important in terms of the software you can run as it was in the past. However, this still greatly affects how you will receive support for your software and should be an important factor when scaling your infrastructure for production.